movie notes on Collateral, 2004 film, 6 November 2024 viewing. I am Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her of Seattle. And this is Wednesday, 6 November 2024, and I just finished viewing this 2004 film, Collateral. And for this viewing, the description I came up with is it's a fiction film about a taxi driver, Yellow Cab Co. in Los Angeles, whose work gets hijacked by a contract killer who enters his cab under the guise of being a normal writer whose work brings him to Los Angeles to close a real estate deal. Yes. So essentially, this guy, played by Jamie Foxx, is this taxi driver, cabbie. Didn't use the word cab. When this came out, the distinction between like taxi cab and yellow cab and cabbie and all that all mattered. That was like you actually know something about business if you know how to distinguish those. That's still true probably today. Yes. Even when like ride sharing companies came out, I still rode in taxis. Yes. So anyway, so essentially, they kind of contextualize him and what his work is like, and then this guy comes along, played by Tom Cruise, who's like going somewhere, and then like he's in the back seat, and he's like, I'm in town, which was Los Angeles, I gotta close this real estate deal. He takes, the 6 $100 bills and goes like this, like a fan. He even brings up Iwo Jima later, Japan and stuff. In Rwanda, there's a lot of fear-mongering by the white business guy in this movie. I thought this is very fitting for today and yesterday in the history of Los Angeles, of California, of the United States of America. Anyway, point being, so then he has I want to do this, do you want the 600? And then, is that the one where the guy falls from the roof onto the top of the taxi cab? And then things progress that way. The concept of collateral is actually relatively rare in business. It's like the opposite of being a landlord, but not quite. I actually have work experience where we actually did collateral as a form of exchange, which is, again, very rare. So collateral is something where there's a goods or a service that is somebody wants, but instead of payment, so instead of dollars, there's another good in exchange. And the collateral here is that the valuation of the good replacing the other good is equal. And then once the good or service is from my experience, those things are kind of like, it's like slash goods slash service. Once it's kind of met its need, it's going back. So it's the opposite of payment in that sense of that. It's like borrowing. However, a person is allowed to see what the value of the thing being borrowed is, because both people have to let go of something. So it's about as anti my sister as possible, right? She owns a bunch of houses and is like, money, 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 money. It's a stupid man's world, kind of thing. But my sister's a woman, so at least so far as I know. So my experience was I worked in student housing. So different type of housing than my sister did, because we did collateral at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Although we did, if people were late on payment and stuff, we had to do that too. So I did what she did plus more, because we also did have to pick up glass and stuff. So the collateral was for somebody needs to vacuum their carpet. So they would come and they would give us a driver's license in exchange for the vacuum, and then they would get their driver's license back when the vacuum came back. And stuff like that does matter, because rates, right? There's I imagine that the university thought about that as right, a vacuum using electricity, the person who's vacuuming then consumes more electricity and is more costly to the university than someone who doesn't use as much electricity. Right? Like I used duct tape to clean the carpet and pick up dirt and stuff. So I was good. I did not require electricity generation and cost the university even more money, right? It's a form of being high maintenance, right? But not necessarily in a bad way. But point being, there's a real dollar sign with that electricity generation. But there's like a flat rate. This is how much the semester costs, and it didn't change even if a person's electricity consumption changed. But collateral essentially is an exchange that comes with a subsequent exchange. So, and at the time of the initial exchange, the subsequent exchange is also communicated. So if somebody doesn't do the second exchange, it's no longer collateral, it's stealing. Okay, so bring the vacuum back. Okay, essentially. So yeah, so that's it's an experience I have with actual collateral as instead of payment or just take, right? People's money. You're just like, yeah. Yes, I have a good alma mater for my bachelor's degree. Thank you very much, University of Hawaii at Manoa. In Honolulu, Hawaii. Okay. And then I was like thinking of this, and I was like, that's kind of like, I guess, services would be like. So I've brought up PhD in physics in Italy, and then like an institute doing research at an Institute of Mathematics in Hungary, and then working at the Hunterian in Scotland. And I was in a mentor-mentee role or student advisor role. And then I guess like being a professor in Italy after all of that. Is it going to be the same institution where I get my PhD from? If I go that way. There's a similarity there in the sense of like, it's not payment right when the service is like working on a project. All right, it's like, it's more along the lines of collateral than I'm gonna pay you to write my paper, right? It's about an exchange. I'm gonna give you this paper to work on. Like, this is gonna be the seed for the project, so to speak. But then when you're done, the project comes back to me. But the person gets to write, and maybe they publish a first author paper. But at the end, it still comes back to the person in charge, which would be me, for the PhD in physics in Italy pathway that I've kind of discussed for myself. And to the people I've mentioned as being my mentee or my student or whatever, would it be cool to have this Euro Native American, my dad is Lakota and my mom is Duwamish, as your mentor / advisor? Right? You can. That's exceptionally rare these days in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to have Native American of any persuasion, so to speak. So would you be okay with having somebody who's, well, the Euro part, because European women or white women are actually underrepresented as well. The overrepresented ones are white men, Asian men, and Asian women. So I'm like, so that's a weird one. But yeah, it's something to keep in mind. Like, if you don't want your own Native American as your advisor, and that's something, some people take that into account, the race / ethnicity and gender, I'm sure hers, always, of a person, into making that decision. So that's something to think about, because if you don't want that, then I'm not a good fit for you. It's okay to say no. All right. All right. And then this is kind of, in terms of collateral, I still don't, when this came out, I was like, are they saying these two men are equal in their own capacity? Because this, I don't know how I feel about that. So I was like, all right, can I bring up a situation where maybe like how I feel about, like, let's see how I'm doing on time. I got time. How I feel like, so like the Jamie character is much better than the Tom Cruise character. And my perspective. So I was like, if there was supposed to be like these two are equal, but I'm not pure white either, right? And I'm Euro Native American, so I'm not represented of these two. They don't represent me either. But here we go. So in the 2010s, in that decade, Ciara, a musical artist and National Football League player, Russell Wilson kind of established themselves as the first high-profile pairing of that nature in my lifetime that I was aware of. I was born in the early to mid-1990s. So what I mean is the woman is a musical artist, singer slash songwriter slash she's dancer, right, too. And then Russell Wilson's a football player, American football player, right? So them being copycatted now by a white woman and a white man, this me, M-E exclamation point, your own Native American, disapproves of. Right? Ciara was well known back in the 2010s for supporting her man at/during his games. She was well-spoken and well-written. From what I have seen/read, the white woman is inferior in her communicating/writing abilities relative to Ciara in terms of supporting her man. I do not and have not ever understood pure white person problems. I am not one. Ciara is simply the better communicator in the English language. I am part English. So just because somebody is a pure white person doesn't mean they're actually good at using the English language. And Ciara is a reminder of that because how many white women copycat her now? Especially as from the music industry. And it's a great way of establishing that that white woman is a copycat and or women, right? They're copycats in their career and they're copycats in personal life as well. Unoriginal, 100% unoriginality. So there we go. Jamie Foxx superior to Tom Cruise in this movie. And those are my movie notes on Collateral 2004 film, 6 November 2024 viewing.